Hi, teacher. Hi, Blanca.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so welcome to our encounter number 2.
Chino. I.
Yeah, well, I'm going to share the agenda with you.
Hasta.
What we are going to do today.
T.
First of all, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about your first recording, and I'm going to try to give you some feedback about it. Then we will talk about task-based learning. That was the topic that we couldn't talk about last encounter because of the time. Then I would like to tell you to give you some tips for you to keep in mind for the second recording, and those that are like classified in the 3 elements for successful learning that are engage, study, and activate. And well, specifically, I would like to talk about the warm-up, the goal setting, accessing prior knowledge in the engage part. In the study part, I would like to talk about the way to present the new information. And in the activate, I would like to talk about the 9 instructional strategies that work and the class closure. And well, finally, we will talk a little bit about the reflection form, that is the activity that we have to present this week. So we have a very full agenda today. So we are going to start now because we have short time. So first, in relation to the first video recording, well, I haven't finished checking your recordings yet. I have seen some of them, and I think that I will be sending you the feedback tomorrow and no later than Friday meeting. Okay? But according to what I have seen up to this moment, well, I have found some strengths and some weaknesses in your videos. So in relation to the strengths, well, I can see that most of you use variety of materials. You use different things. You use worksheets. You use videos, listening tracks, games, handouts. Well, you use different materials, and that was something very positive for most of you. You have also variety of activities. You have communicative activities. You try to develop the core communicative skills. Well, some of you apply games. Well, there were many activities, so that was very good as well. Also, you showed a good relationship with your students. So you show that you have good rapport with your students and classroom management. I didn't see that many classroom management issues. Well, but I have also some suggestions that those 4 aspects were positive things in your recordings. Well, in the ones that I have seen up to this moment. Well, in relation to the weaknesses, well, I see something common, and it's the goal. When you set the goal and when you socialize the goal. Some of you well, missed that part. You didn't mention the goal, or some of you just mentioned the goal, but you were not, or you didn't check for understanding of that goal. That is something that is really important because the students need to know what what is the reason why they are in the class and what you expect from them to achieve at the end of the lesson. So, well, it is important to set a goal, to be sure that it is clear for your students, and well, that they know what you expect from them at the end of your lesson or your class. The engaged part, some of you did well, warming up activities, but others started with the topic and didn't do a warm-up activity. So that is something that we need to improve. The closure part, it is also something that we need to improve because some of you just finished the class. Maybe you asked a question, did you understand? Was it clear? But it is not enough to close the lesson. And the steps in the lesson, in some of the classes, they were very clear. They had a sequence, but in others, well, there was not like a process in the steps you follow. So those are the aspects that I would like to share with you, so you can take them into account for the next class. Okay. Well, in this part, do you have comments, questions?
Teacher, hello.
Yeah.
No, I just had, I don't know if you read the message that I sent through the platform about my videos.
Yeah, and I answered.
Oh, you did? Okay, no, I
Yeah.
haven't seen it for today.
Okay, so please look at that. Well, read the message, please. And if you have any question, please let me know.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay. Something else? Yeah. Well, following our agenda, well, I would like to tell you a little bit about task-based learning. That was the topic that we were supposed to cover last class, but because of the time we didn't do it. So I'm going to stop sharing this presentation and I'm going to share the one that we were looking at in our previous encounter. That is this one. Yeah, this is the presentation. Okay, as I told you last class, there is not a specific method you need to follow or that is a requirement for the class. But task-based learning is well, a methodology that is being very useful for language teachers. And well, sometimes we use it a lot because well, it implies communicative the development of communicative skills. So that is why I would like to talk about a little bit about task-based learning and taking into account that it was the topic that we studied in the first week, and it was based on the well, you developed some tests based on this methodology. So, well, first of all, task-based learning is a natural extension of communicative language teaching because when you develop a task, well, you need to develop the communicative skills because students have a specific activity to do, and well, it could be an oral activity or a writing activity. So that's why it's very related to communicative language teaching. Well, the important thing here is that the emphasis is on the task rather than the language. So you cannot start a task-based learning class with a grammar explanation. It would be at the end of the lesson because after you develop the task, you reflect on the language you use to develop that task. So here you have some examples, like getting information about bus timetables or making a presentation on a particular topic. After the task is completed, the language is reviewed. That was what I said before. The task itself is the main focus, and communicative activities are at the heart of learning. We have a sequence in the task-based learning methodology that is a pre-task, a task cycle, and then we have the language focus. The pre-task is the part where you present the activity to students and where you introduce the topic. The task cycle is where students try to understand what they have to do and they reflect on the language they need to develop that task. And finally, we have the language focus. That is, once you complete the task, you can like make a review of the grammar or the structures you use to develop that task. There is a difference with the PPP methodology, that is presentation, practice, and production, because, well, in this methodology, the production is at the end, but when you use task-based learning, the production is the first part because it's the first thing you do, that is the task. Okay, here you have some things that you need to consider when you are going to plan a task-based learning activity or a task-based learning class. So first of all, you have to think about the students you have, who they are, what are their needs, what are their skills, what is their level, so what do we want to do and why. So here is where you plan the activities that you are going to implement, the skills you want to develop, the language you are going to use, and the outcomes that you want to reach. It is also important to consider how long will it take and the problems that may arise during the lesson. How does it work? What will be needed? What might go wrong? And how will it fit in with what comes before and after it? So you have to make connections. So this is what you have to consider when you are planning a task this one. So here you have well, the elements for successful language learning, and that is what I'm going to talk about later. And well, we have like the engage part, where you involve your students in the class. The idea is to use catching activities, for example, games, music, discussions, pictures, stories, anecdotes. The study part is where you help your students to construct something. Well, they practice what they learn, and they discover activities. And finally, we have the activity part, where they is where they apply what they learn. So they use the language as freely as communicatively as they can, and they use all and any language appropriate for a given situation at all. Okay. Yeah. So that was what I wanted to tell you in the last encounter. Well, do you have comments, questions about this? Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Giancarlo. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I have a question
Yeah.
related to the tax-based language teaching topic. In the institution that I work for, there is a material that we use as per request of the university that we serve the English courses for. And this material has I would say the main methodology within the book is a communicative approach.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the lessons are pretty much what Jack C. Richards type of books go first with, like a language presentation. There is like some series of practice with like listening the language or using the language before there is a direct focus on grammar. And then in the end, the students practice. The book is pretty much presentation, practice, produce, present, practice, produce. So my question is, for the recordings, do we need to convert these lessons into task-based learning so that we can meet the goals, like every time we record the lessons? Or, I mean, should we go? I mean, I have the permission to do that, but sometimes it's like I need to like take over the planning. I make sure I'm getting like a task that is at the center of the whole lesson, which it's kind of tricky to do. So I would like to know, like, should we, for the purpose of the recordings, turn our lessons into task-based lessons following the engage study activate lesson sequence, or can we go ahead and do the recordings using this? Because I kind of understood the last time that you said that we could go ahead and like teach following like the methodology that the institution uses, or I might be confused. So I'd like to get this clarified a little bit so that I could, for my next recording.
Okay. Well, no, it's not necessary really to change your methodology. Like, well, when we talk about the engage study and activate, well, I think that, and the university chose that methodology because it's very general and it could be adapted to any other methodology. Because those three aspects are like the aspects every methodology needs to follow, because well, you need to catch the student's attention, then you need some practice. Well, you need to present the new learning, they have to practice, and finally they have to produce something. But engage, study, and activate are stages or are parts of the lesson that could be changed in relation to the order. You can have first the activate part, then you can have the study part, or you can change the order, and you can adapt different methodologies to those three sections of the lesson. You can find them with different names, and well, you can use different methodologies. And I know that in institutions, language institutes are based on books, and I know that teachers are asked to follow those books. But well, in fact, the book you are mentioning and the authors you are mentioning, for example, Jack Richards is an author that uses communicative approach most of the time. And as I told you before, communicative approach is very related to task-based learning. So, well, and if you want to use something different, you can do it. And if you want to meet different methods, you can do it. I am just talking about task-based learning because it's a useful methodology, and in our next encounters, I'm going to talk about different methodologies you can use. This is just the first time talking about that. Well, I'm going to talk about different other methodologies that you can use. So you can use the methodologies you need, or you are required, or that you prefer. But the thing is that I try to take into account the aspects that we have in the rubric, and that's it. Yeah, but for example, when you, well, in different methodologies you can use, or for example, in communicative approach, task-based learning, or project-based learning, well, you need a goal. It doesn't matter the methodology. And those are the aspects that we need in your report, independently of the methodology you are using. Did I answer your question?
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Because I'm currently working also with a project for Secretary of Education here in town, and we're trying to implement the national English curriculum that was suggested by Ministry of Education.
Yes.
And there is a very clear explanation on how to implement task-based learning for first, second, and third grades in public schools. So I was like pretty much following those guidelines, and try to bring them into the classroom. But I found this, like, I mean, it's the university that we're serving that wants us to go by that specific Jack-C. Reacher's communicative approach traditional methodology. So I just wanted to get that clarified, and I think the question is answered. So thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Nowadays, Ministry of Education trying to focus the language teaching on hybrid learning and suggested curriculum intervention talks a lot about hybrid learning. That's why universities, schools are trying, well, in this moment, schools, public schools are trying to follow this policy. It's not a policy, it's like a document that suggests its name, yes, it suggests the curriculum, but many schools are trying to adopt that curriculum. Well, it takes into account different things. It's based on the Common European Framework of Reference. It takes into account the English language standards and different things. But yeah, well, in this class, you can use the methodology you feel comfortable with, or the one that you think it's according to your students' needs. But there are some aspects that all of us have to follow in, well, that we consider that are important in English literature. Well, taking into account your recordings, your first recording, I would like you to take these aspects into account. So we have the English, and the English, as I showed you in the agenda, well, it has many things that you have to consider, but I chose these three things that I think are paramount when you teach class. That are the warm-up, the goal setting, and accessing trial mode. So, well, the warm-up is important because it sets the tone for the rest of the lesson. If you start your lesson with an activity that catches the student's attention, that raises their motivation level, well, probably your lesson is going to be the same until the end. So that's why the warm-up is very important. Well, as it says here, warm-up on using and basic energy levels and activities also produce relaxed and less individual experience. So if you use, for example, icebreakers, your students are going to feel more relaxed, more secure in your lesson. It should promote a warm classroom atmosphere, and the lessons warm-up gets the students in the English mode. So in the part, they are aware they need to use English and that it is going to be a class where you have to try English. And it does not have to be long. So the suggested time is 10 minutes. So that's the first part. The second part that I consider is really important is the goal setting. Why? Because the students need to know why are they in your class? What is that they are going to learn? And why is that learning going to be useful for them? Yeah. So it helps students know they will be held accountable for the material taught. It holds the teacher accountable to a well-structured lesson, and it is a push for the teacher to determine how effectively they taught the lesson. So the goal is something that you have to keep always in your mind, because it is like what defines the path you are going to follow in your learning process. So you start your lesson with a goal, and it's suggested to finish your lesson checking if you achieve that goal. So here you have to take into account what will you be teaching, what is it that you want your students to know or be able to do. So that's why it's really important to have a clear goal, but not only to have it, but also to share it with your students. They need to know, and they have to understand that goal. So you assess if you achieve that goal, and your students need to do it as well. Okay? Well, and there are some do's and don'ts that you have to consider when setting a goal. So the goal should be in kid language if you are teaching kids, or in your students' language. For example, if you are going to teach grammar, well, sometimes students don't understand or are not familiar with the language. For example, if you say that students are going to learn the present perfect continuous, and sometimes they don't know what is present perfect continuous. So you have to be sure that your students understand the goal. And if you have to change the language you use in your goal, you need to do it. It has to be specific, and it has to be attainable. Well, there are some, I don't know if you have heard about the SMART goals. Have you heard about it? The SMART goals. Well, okay, SMART goals, or the word SMART, refers to the characteristics the goals should have. So it is like an acronym of each of those characteristics. And first we have the S. Do you know what does the S refer? Yeah, specific. They have to be specific. The M. Okay, the M refers to measure. Yes, we have to have a specific time to achieve the goal. Then we have, yeah, they have to be to get the skill and tools or not. Then we have the A. Do you know what?
Teacher,
Yeah, attainable.
teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me, teacher? I'm Flor-de-Lis.
Yeah.
Okay, teacher. Well, I get some important information about the SMART goals, because S is with a specific, M with measurable or meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
A is with agreed or achievable,
Mm-hmm.
R with relevant, this includes reasonable, realistic, and T is with time bound, so time based, time limit, a limit time.
Mm-hmm.
That is the this is an acronym. That is the meaning of that.
Yes, well, that is. Yeah, that's right. So those are some things that you need to consider when you are going to set the goal, apart from the ones that we have in the slide. Okay. So, well, and something that I consider very important is to socialize the goal with your students. And there are different strategies you can use to do that. And well, here we have some of those strategies. Well, these are just some suggestions that you can use other strategies to prefer. One is to read. You can ask the students to read the goal aloud from the book. That would be one strategy that is very simple and is used with little kids. The second one is to rewrite it. And you can have students document in their books or on their objective score sheet the objective for the day. Have students rewrite in their own words or draw a non-linguistic representation. When we talk about the objective score sheet, we can also use it at the end of the lesson. So it could be useful to set the goal, and we can also close the lesson with that score sheet, because well, you set the goal at the beginning of the lesson, and at the end you can score if they achieve that goal. Well, score it gives students an opportunity to score themselves on what they think they already know. You can use a thumbs up, thumbs down, or show me 1, 2, 3 with their fingers. You can also use a traffic light. Uh, if the goal was achieved, you can use the green color. If they need things, or if they need to review some things, you can use the yellow one. But if they didn't achieve the goal, you can use the red. Another strategy is to predict it. Ask students to conjecture, come up with what they think they will learn, and connect it. Ask students how might improving their work impact their learning. Okay, so these are some strategies that you can use. You can also ask students to talk, for example, in pairs at the beginning of the lesson, and talk about the goal, what they understand about the goal. Well, that's it. And the other aspect that is very important is accessing prior knowledge. If you are going to teach a new topic, you have to learn first, or to know first what the students already know about the topic. So here you can use, well, it is also something short. Well, it can take 30 seconds or more, depending on the activity you are going to use to activate the prior knowledge. And accessing prior knowledge gives the students intellectual traction on which to build a better foundation, and you know that it is related to Vygotsky theory and the sound of proximal development. And well, here you have that the importance of activating prior knowledge cannot be understated. Without it, the teacher is building content on a weak foundation. That is like the framework of the new knowledge you are going to teach your students. That is why that is something very important in the lesson. So here you have the 3 things that I would like you to include in your next recording. That is the warm-up, the goal setting, and the an activity to access prior knowledge. That is really important to have a good engaged part of your lesson. So, questions? Comments? Okay, the second part, that is the study section of your class, or you can call it practice or application, as you prefer. Well, this is the presentation of the new content that could be procedural or declarative knowledge, depending on what you are going to teach. Remember that procedural refers to hands-on activities, something that is practical, and declarative refers to something more related to theory, to thinking skills. Well, that is the difference. And this is the material identified in your goal and objective. New information can be presented in multiple formats, such as the following. These are just some suggestions. You can present the new topic with, through a video, through a mini lesson, lecture, and note-taking, readings, viewing, experiencing, listening, and the way you prefer. Well, that is very practical, and well, it's just that, presenting the knowledge through different activities, through different strategies. And then we have the activate part, that is where the students put into practice what they learned in the part where you presented the new topic, that is in the studies section of the lesson. This is the assignment part of the lesson plan. The students need time to manipulate the content. They need to see it, hear it, experience it in some way. So if you are going to, for example, if you are going to talk about daily routines, they need to talk about daily routines, they need to write about daily routines, they need to listen to about daily routines. Well, you have to use different means for students to experience that content. They need opportunities to allow the new information to become authentic to them. The activity must be meaningful, applicable to the content taught. Apply a thinking skill or procedure strategically in a new situation. The assignment must be tied back to the goal and objective for the day. As I told you before, the goal is something that needs to be present in each part of your lesson. And differentiate instruction for various types of learning styles. So here you have to take into account learning styles, multiple intelligences, when you are going to plan the activities that you are going to use with your students. And if they have learning needs, well, you also have to consider them to define the activate part of your lesson. And here, well, this is something that I have mentioned before, that is the 9 instructional strategies that work, that according to research and according to different authors, if you apply those 9 instructional strategies that are different forms to manipulate content, the students are going to learn, and that is something that is proved by research. So they are identifying similarities and differences, summarizing and note-taking, reinforcing effort and providing recognition, homework and practice, non-linguistic representations, cooperative learning, setting objectives and providing feedback, generating and testing hypotheses, asking questions, using cues and advice, and advanced organization. So that is something that I also would like to see in your next recording. Well, sometimes because of the time it's difficult to use these 9 instructional strategies. It is not, or they are not suggested to be used in just one lesson, but in the learning process, depending on the topic you are teaching. If it is going to take a week, or if it is going to take a month, the important thing is that you apply the 9 instructional strategies during the learning process, well, depending on the time it is going to take. And well, the class closure, that is something that sometimes we miss because of the time, because we are running at the end of the class, because the students want to leave the classroom very quickly, but we have to plan our class to have a closure. And it's not just asking, was it clear? Did you understand? Because all of the students are going to say that it's clear because they want to leave. So that is something that you have to plan. It is called generalization sometimes. It says formerly known as closure but better, and is the most critical aspect to solidify the content taught, to make learning stick. It's easiest to overlook as often we run out of time, and it's your opportunity to assess right then and there. Did they know it or not? Did the students make a connection? So the idea is to make it active, because at the end of the lesson, the students are tired, they want to leave, they are not paying attention. But if you do an active activity, something that engages students, it is going to be effective. And here, well, we have some suggestions. Well, it could be paper and pencil, self-scoring, as I mentioned in the setting goal part. You can score the objective of the lesson. You can use exit slips, like those are like cards with one question or two questions very quickly, where you ask something key that gives you information about the learning process, or just asking a question but not did you understand something, a different question. It could be computer assisted. They can write an email and telling you about uh, their learning process, if they understood, how did they feel, and in this case, they can do it after the class. You can use a blog, you can create a spreadsheet chart in progress, or you can use a message board depending on the technology that you have in your class. Here you have other strategies like partner strategies. Students can work together to make a summary exchange, or walking summaries where they move around the classroom and talk about their experience in the lesson, or they can do collective summaries. The physical representations that I mentioned before, a traffic light or hand signaling, or it could be anecdotal, like creating a slogan or an ABC review. Well, I see that Arley has a question. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, teacher. The thing is that maybe that class closure, I don't understand maybe what it is, because I understand what the activate is. That is like the activity that the students do at the end of the class, or like the last part of the class where the students are going to create a new knowledge or something new with everything they have seen. But I don't understand what that class closure is, or could you give me please one example about it, or what it is to identify it in a class, please?
Yeah, the activate is where they apply and you see if they understood the topic, but the class closure is more like a reflective process for students and for you, because well, they can do an activity at the end of the lesson where you assess the learning process, but you also need to know the way they felt in your lesson, if these strategies you use were effective. It's more like a reflective process, and it is something for closing the class in a more formal way. Something different to say goodbye and have a good week. Did you understand? Something more formal, and that is important for students to you know that a process needs a start and a closure, and sometimes we don't do that closure part. So examples, it could be the one that I mentioned before, using exit slips or exit cards, where you ask students, you can, for example, use a question to ask about their feelings and a question to ask about their knowledge. For example, you can give a card with a happy face, a serious face, and a sad face that represents the way they felt during your class. And you can also include a question about the topic, or a question about the checking for understanding. For example, um, assess from 1 to 5 your understanding of the topic, and they rate from 1 to 5. It is something simple. It doesn't have to take too long, but it has to give you information for you to improve your practice as a teacher and to know about their students' learning process. Yeah, something like that. Okay. And well, that's it. So those are the things that I want to share with you, and that I would like you to include them in your second report. So in that way, you are going to have a more structured class.
Sure. Can I make a question, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Today you can explain us again.
I'm sorry, the sound is not good.
You can listen better, no? Yes.
John?
Yes, yes, John.
Okay, tell me.
Okay. Teacher, today you can again explain us of the different ways or the correct way to need to make a class. Yes, and create a lesson class. The different methodologies and PPP that's really important of the other ones for the different states. Yes. But I have a question. Yeah. For this week, we have we have a activity. Yes, it's try to make a reflection about the first recording feedback. Or I don't know if I understand this topic that's one, but I don't know if I it's possible I have a mistake or I understood. But we need to make a reflection about first our class about this one of topics, or you giving us our feedback for the first recording, and about your feedback we need to make a reflection.
Yeah. You have to reflect upon your lesson according to the feedback I give.
Okay. Did you give it today or when?
I'm going to give it to you tomorrow and no later than Friday meeting.
Friday. The reflection is for on Sunday.
For
It's on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to. I will try to do it as soon as possible. It's a week for watching 17 videos.
Yeah, I know that's a long time. You need to paste zero all.
I'm about to finish watching videos, and what I have to do is to send you the forms with my feedback. And so I will try to finish tomorrow, but if I can't, it will be Friday morning.
Yeah, but I tell her because okay, maybe that's I don't know if they have some problem with my classmates, but he said for example, I have a short time for try to do this activity, and the activity close on Sunday. I don't know if it's possible to try to give it a less on Monday. I don't know if the rest of my classmates don't have a problem. Okay, but this is a suggestion. Yeah, it's an advice. Let's go. It's an consider that.
Okay, I know that this week, and that was a question that I wanted to ask you. Taking into account the schedule, and that I'm going to give you the feedback tomorrow or maybe on Friday morning. Well, if you need more time, I can give you till Tuesday for sending your reflection.
Okay, that's for me. What's a good idea possible to do a lesson on Monday? I don't know. What do you think, my classmates?
I agree with John. Exactly. Maybe it's better to 1 or 2 days more, teacher. Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with them. Tuesday will be fine because I'm usually having my time off starting on Saturday afternoon, and we'll have the whole Sunday. And I'm taking another 3 courses. Well, this is my another 2 courses, and all the deadlines are on Sunday, so I'm basically spending my whole Sunday doing all the activities for the university. So that'll be awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So let's leave the deadline for Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teacher, sorry.
Thanks so much, teacher.
Okay.
Teacher, I'm sorry, but I'm being a little bit lost because I've been so busy, so I have a doubt about the lesson plans. Where do we have to send the lesson plans? Because we have to send the reflection for Tuesday, but what about the lesson plans?
Now, it's the same form. We have the lesson plan and the reflection in the same document.
Okay, thank you. But is the lesson plan of the last recording? I mean, on Tuesday we have to send the reflection on the lesson plan of the recording of class 1.
Now, what you have to send is the lesson plan of your second recording and the reflection of the first recording. Because you planned your second recording taking into account the reflection.
Sorry, teacher, I didn't hear you. There is a noise.
you have to present the second recording lesson plan, because you will have to include uh, the, the things that you explain in your reflection. So the reflection is of the first recording and the lesson plan of the second recording.
And what about the lesson plan for for the first recording? There is no a lesson plan for the first recording?
No, there is no lesson plan.
Ah, okay. Thank you very much, teacher.
Okay.
I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, the reason why the first recording didn't have a lesson plan is because we wanted to know the way you teach a lesson in this moment. Based on that, we able to adjust and to improve.
Teacher, I have the last question. I promise you. I mean, maybe. Oh, so sorry. I saw really noise. Now, I have a confused with on some specific day, especially for the present the second recording of the video. Maybe that's it's on. Oh my God, sorry. It's on 19th. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
The second recording. Yeah, it's on 19.
I'm going to show you the study guide. So we have all the dates.
Because if this is the reason, I need to record my class on 12. Because I don't have more time for try to edit and for try to organize everything. That's and I need your feedback early. Sorry, for try to organize the class.
So here you have
Gracias.
the study guide.
Sí, ahora.
So here we have.
Yeah. There's 6. Yes, it's for the first part. First lesson plan. And 13.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And the second recording was Will. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I was showing you the wrong file. Give me a second, please. Can we see the document?
Yes.
Here we have the dates. The second video recording is for May the 20th.
Yeah, teacher. So, for example, in my case, I just work with my students for this, a foundation just on Saturday. Yeah, I don't have other option. And I mean, for me, it's a really difficult try to recording on 19th if I need to give in the recording on 12 and 20. But I need to make my recording, my second recording this Saturday. That's on 12 for giving a time for everything. And a personal favor was is if you can give me your feedback possible tomorrow at night. We have 1 day for try to organize everything for try to make, because actually I really just working 1 day in a foundation, it was really difficult for me try to record in 1 day. I mean, for example, the last recording I paced around 12 hours trying to upload to YouTube because it's really long and I need to attain it. I'm so sorry, teacher. I know you have a lot of work because it's a lot of, 2 hours, 17 students. That's a really long time. You need to see that one, yeah. But it's on a personal favor, yeah. Sorry, actually, I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry, John, because, well, you were the first student that sent the recording, and I started checking recordings in the order you sent them, and your feedback is almost done, so I think that you will have it tomorrow.
Oh, thank you so much, teacher.
Teacher, excuse me, I got a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I am agree and also have the same issues as the partner says, but the deal with me is that for this school year we only have 20 days of working with the students. So the first question is that what will happen if in these 20 days that I have, I just only upload the second recording, and if I won't be able to work with the students, what can I do in that situation?
For the third recording?
Yes,
Well,
because our school year ends at the first week of June, so I will have to modify my lessons plans, but I can do it. But the deal is the time in this moment. For example, on Friday we are in a meeting, all the high school teachers, so we are not going to work with the students. For the next week we are going to work only 2 days with them. And I mean, we in our school we have a lot of activities that can allow us to change the lessons plan that we already made, and also the time of working with the students. So I'm worried about the third video recording, and also about the feedbacks of this lesson plan and the video recordings, because I have the time to change the lesson plans, but these video recordings take, like the partner said, a lot of time trying to upload it in YouTube, because there is too much time of those videos. So it takes, in my case, for the video that I sent, it takes me 1.5 days to upload it. So it's too much time, and we have to spend the same kind of time by editing and posting and all these things. So I'm worried for the third video record.
well, what I can tell you is that if you see that you are not going to be able to record the third recording by the time you have to present it, that is June the 3rd, and that maybe you are not going to be able to record in taking into account the second class reflection, what I suggest you is to record it at the same time. Maybe if you record the second class, and let's say this Wednesday, you can record the third class on Friday. Well, because I cannot tell you that I can check just 2 recordings, because the course requirements are 3, and that would be my suggestion. If you see that the time is not going to be enough for you, you can record number 2 and number 3 during the same days, so you can have it ready when you have to present it. That would be the only solution that I can give you, because all of you have to present 3 recordings, and those are the university's requirements.
The requirement is three recordings.
Yeah.
Teacher, for this first video, I made a reading comprehension activity with one group, 8A, but I can make the other recording with another group. It has to be the same?
No, I think that last encounter I told you that if you have difficulties recording with the same group, or recording the 2 hours continuous, you can record different groups, or you can record a 1 hour lesson twice to complete the 2 hours. But if you need to record with another group, you can do it.
Okay. Yes, because I teach on 8th grade and 7th grade. So my question was more about the same group's activity. I mean, for the first one, I made a reading comprehension activity. So I was thinking on recording a grammar content class, and another, I think the third one might be for a writing or a speaking activity. I was thinking that,
Yeah.
but with different groups, because for me, in this moment in the school, I need the time with the students, because also we are making exams and quizzes and workshops and all these things in order to promote the students to the next year. So we are giving them a lot of chances. Or I was thinking to make a recording about an exam or a quiz activity, or is only about the whole, for the saying something, grammar class?
Well, so you have to consider some things. First one, I remember that you provided some approval letters from your students where
Yes.
they agreed on the recordings.
Yes.
They gave you permission to record themselves. And well, you have, if you are going to record with different people from the ones that were in your letter, I think you need another consent letter for those students, because you are going to record them. Yep.
Yeah.
That is something, because you know recordings are something that is well, that we have to try carefully.
Yes.
So if you are going to record other students, and well, you have to consider that the permission.
Sorry, teacher, but you have permission from an institution. I think you can use two groups.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you have permission for your institution, you can do it. But for example, there are some students that were teaching private classes with 2 or 3 students, and if they are going to change the students, well, they need the consent letter. You know, you are the ones. You are the ones who know the situation. So if you think that you need another consent letter, or if you have the permission for the institution, you can do it. Yes, you are the ones who know if you need a permission or if you can do it. Well,
No, in this moment I don't need any other letter,
okay.
because I have four classrooms in 8th grade, so I can do different activities in different classrooms.
Yeah, and the other thing you have to consider is, well, remember that I checked some issues, some criteria in your videos. And for example, if you are going to develop a written evaluation that takes an hour or an hour and a half, well, that activity is not going to be useful for me to see or to assess the different aspects I need to assess in your class. So, well, you have to analyze that.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. I don't know if I can go ahead and ask them. Somebody waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Well, the first one is I'm really open to do or to teach my lessons in a different way or following a different methodology, because I think it favors me and it provides experience for me to continue learning on how to teach. But I'm that kind of guy who learns the most by observing other teachers doing it. So I was thinking maybe if there is a video or a recording or something that you can share with us so that we can go ahead and observe what is considered like a standard class that includes all these elements. I think that'll be really helpful. And that's my first question. Is there any material that we can maybe look for it on YouTube or I don't know that the university has at the moment that we can use to observe a class that's being taught following all these principles or all these elements that the tax based and engage study activated and all the elements that are in the rubric so we can see how it's done. That'll be my first one. And my second question has to do with the fact that I'm getting this feedback today, but I'm recording my lessons from a class that is being taught on Saturdays. So the thing is, and I have another group that I'm teaching every day. So I sometimes, depending on some things that happen on Saturdays, the class is canceled, and that's what I asked you before. But the thing is that if I plan my lesson, it wouldn't be the next lesson because I'm not sure if I'll be recording the one on Wednesday or the one on Friday. So the topic that I'll be like, maybe the lesson that I'm planning for the activity for this Sunday, I'm not even sure if I'll be able to teach that lesson and you will be able to observe if the lesson that I'm actually planning is the one that I'll be recording, and that worries me a little bit. So I don't know how can I proceed about that because like the planning that I will submit on Sunday and then I have the full intention of fulfilling on the day that I plan to record. I'm not sure if I'll be able to record that specific class that I will be planning on this weekend. I don't know if I make myself clear.
Yeah. Okay. The first question. Yeah, I can upload some videos in the virtual classroom, but well, those are not lessons that include all the aspects we are talking about, because well, there are some that are or their purpose is, for example, teaching you how to improve your classroom management. Others are based on task-based learning. So there is not one class that has all the aspects that we are mentioning here because they have different purposes. But what I can do is to upload those videos and tell you what is it for. If it's about classroom management, or if it is about assessment, or about a specific approach. That would be what I can do. Okay, Giancarlo?
Sure, definitely. I mean that's what I'm saying. I mean, just in order to fully understand the aspects on how it's seen by like probably your experience and how do you expect us to do it. If you upload a video and you tell us that what is in the video is similar to what you expect from us, I think it'll be easier for us to do the planning because I'm willing to change the way I'm teaching the lessons just to fit what I'm learning here. Because if I continue to do the same thing that I've been doing, like in my experience at the institution that I'm working for right now, I think it's useless. I need to try to implement this as you're presenting it here so that I get to learn how it's done and actually get the experience. That's why I was saying if you share the videos, I think that'll be extremely helpful for me. I'm sure it will be for the other classmates here.
Okay.
Sorry, teacher. I think it would be better to share a couple of lesson plans and something like the presentation you just show us, because you have some examples of what activities we can present in every stage of the lesson plan. So I think it will be better like that.
Yeah. In the communication space of the virtual classroom, where you find the encounters access, there are two folders, one with the recordings and one with the presentations of each of the encounters. So in the folder, you can find the presentation. Well, in relation to the lesson plans, well, I can share some lesson plans from one of the students, or some of the students that have taken this course before, and that are that could be useful for you to have an idea. I can do that. I erase their names and I upload the lesson plans. So
Thank you very much, teacher.
So if you want, I can open a folder. Well, I'm going to open a folder in the virtual classroom so you can access to those samples of lesson plans. And in the other folder, in the communication space, you can find the presentation. In relation to Giancarlo's question about the lesson plan and the recordings, well, I don't know. I have to think about it because there is one part of the rubric that I use to assess the reflection form, and it says that and the lesson plan and the recording form, that it says that the lesson plan matches the recording. And in that case, if you don't use if you don't record the class that corresponds to the lesson plan you sent, well, you would have a low grade in that part because it wouldn't match the lesson plan. Okay, let me think about it, Giancarlo, and maybe tomorrow I send you a message about it, because in this moment I don't know. I will.
Teacher, may I?
Yeah, tell me.
All right. I was thinking about it, and I think that maybe all of us we have like the same issue about like the time, like the differences with the time in which we're going to record the classes, and that maybe this is not going to match with the lesson plan because of the time that we're receiving the feedback. But I think that maybe it would be fixed if we have like maybe more time to send you like the workshop and in the recording. I mean, if you give us like you give us the feedback and then you give us some time to give you that, and then we would do it well, I think.
Okay. Okay. Let me check. I'm going to analyze the schedule because well we have you send the recording, the next week you send the reflection, and then you send the second recording. You have a week to record the second recording based on the feedback. So you would have 15 days that you will receive my feedback after the first week.
Excuse me, teacher, it's so difficult to listen to you because I feel that other people is talking. It's so difficult, a lot noise. It's difficult to understand, and you are talking about important things.
Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay, yeah, tell me.
We were unable to hear you the whole message, Joanna.
Nothing? Well, I was telling you that I'm going to check the schedule. Okay, I'm going to analyze it and I'm going to see if there is another way to do it. So I'm going to check that, and I think that by Friday I will send you a message. This is something that I need to talk about with the director of the program. So let me talk to him and then I give you an answer, or maybe we can plan this in a different way. So I can tell you on Friday. Okay? Okay. Do you have more questions? Yeah? Okay. Well, okay. So thank you very much for attending the encounter. So, well, if you have questions, docs, please write to me through the messages section, the forum. Well, use the medium you prefer, but well, I'm open to answer your questions. Okay. Thank you very much. You can check the presentation in the folder that I told you. And well, have a good week, and you will be receiving my feedback tomorrow and Friday morning.
Thank you very much, teacher. Good evening, everyone. Have a good night, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks.